A very good day and welcome to the Roundtable series on Asake Online. My name is Sizwakele Ndlovu. On the program today, we are going to be discussing the role of women in politics and their experiences. And with me on the show today to talk about her experiences, I have Councilor Moyo. Councilor Moyo, welcome to Asake Online, and please may we have a quick introduction from you.
Thank you very much. Mina ibizo lami nginguNappy Moyo. Ngivela eGwanda municipality. Councilor ka Ward 2. Ngiyabonga.
And joining us as well is Nonhlanhla Mlotshwa. Thank you so much for being part of the Asake Online series. Please may we have a quick introduction from you.
Good day. My name is Nonhlanhla Mlotshwa. I'm the Deputy Secretary for Rural Mobilization, Strategy and Penetration. I'm in the National Standing Committee of the Citizens Coalition for Change. Thank you so much.
To start us off, I'm going to ask you, Councilor Moyo, to just give us a journey. She's been a councillor, she's been involved in politics. Please give us a brief about your journey, why you got involved in politics, what your journey has been like, your challenges, and any advice you would give a woman, a female, looking at following your path.
My journey in politics yaba nzima kakhulu njengomama. Okwaba nzima kakhulu ukuthi isikhathi ngingena ngisiya campaign ngaprotesta umuntu ubaba lo wayenemali zakhe sisiya ku primary, but ngakwenza ukuthi ngize ngingene, mina ngangenamali but ngasebenza nzima njengomama ukuthi ngingene. Mina ngakumobilize abantu, ngangena ku primary, yena waluza, mina ngangena. Hamba ngaya ku-election lapho ngisangene ku-election sesiyavota kwama-nice election, ngaba le-challenge enkulu kakhulu. Ngangingela mali and endlini ubaba laye wayengafuni ukuthi ngibe ngukhansela. Kodwa mina okwakuphakathi kwami ukuthi ngakwazi, yikho okwangenza ngaze ngasebenza nzima kakhulu. And ngisebenza njalo ngangingela mali ukuthi ngithenge ama-poster, ngithenge ama-flyers, but kwaba nomusisi owachipha endabeni yami yokukhambela. Wakwanisa ukungithengela ama-posters, wakwanisa ukungithengela ama-flyers. Ngadinga amantombazana angu-4 ama-youth bangincedisa ewadini. Iwadi yami ilabantu by then kwakulabantu abangu-977 ababerejistile ukuvota ewadini yami. Iwadi yami ise-CBD, but ngayenelisa ukuthi ngingene sisebenze ngawina i-election, but kwakusiba nzima because endleleni lapha kwakuhamba kufuneka imali, but ngakukwanisa lokho ukuthi ngingene ku-election ngawina mina ngamavoti angu-491. Then sina sasiconteste singomama singu-4. Omunye wayevela kuZanu, omunye vela bengama-independent, but mina ngawina ngamavoti angu-471. So ku-977, which means labana bashiya, mina ngangena ninjalo ngela mali ngenxa yokuthi ngasebenza nzima. My journey. So another one ukuthi mina why vele kwangenza ngafuna ukuba ngukhansila. Mina ngangifuna ukuba ngukhansila just because nganginanzelela ukuthi iGwanda yethu etown eBheki ilama-ward angu-10. Olalo ngama-ward lana ayokupha ngobaba. Ithemu 2018 kwakungena obaba kuphela, but I just say ukuthi no, akuyenzi. Obaba bengangena laphana bevoti kuzaba nzima ukuthi basimele thina njengabomama. Yikho okwangenza ngaze ngangena lapha ngifuna ukuyamela omama beGwanda. Mina ngumama oyi-1 kulabo baba abangu-8 so far khathesi, kodwa ngiyakwanisa ukusebenza labo kunjalo, ngiyakwanisa ukuba ngenja kunjalo. Ku-election emsebenzini lapho esebenza khona, i-challenge engiba nayo kakhulu yikuthi bona bengakhuluma ulutho. So mina nxa sengifuna ukuluphikisa, bona bayi-majority, bakwanisa ukuthi bangiphikise begcine bona bewina. Then okunye futhi okwangenza kwabanjalo, ngananzela ukuthi omama beGwanda abalamama obamelayo, especially endaweni zama-vendors. Omama i-vending vele iyenziwa ngomama labo lamantombazana. So ngananzelela kakhulu ukuthi omama balamuntu obamelayo u-vending endabeni zamanzi, indawo ethe Gwanda iyahlupha isikhathi samanzi. So mina ngesikhathi engingene ngaso I managed ukuthi ngisikwanise ukuthi ngicela ukuthi sicela sifakele isikotho. Sayinelisa ukufakela isikotho ezingu-4 emawadini including leyami iward. Ngifakela isikotho sena leso mina ewadini yami awubaba babesaka bethi town ayifuni isikotho. Kodwa amanzi ehlupha iGwanda injalo. But konke lokho ngakubuyisa mina njengomama ngiyi-1 ngaze ngayinelisa ukuthi lami ewadini yami kube lesikotho. And okunye futhi engakwenzayo ngagqugquzela omama beGwanda ukuthi abayenze ama-health clubs. Ama-health clubs abancedisa omama ngama-Wednesday bahamba beklina. Bengaqeda ukuklina sebesenza izinto imisebenzi yezandla. Bathunga amadoyili, bathatha amagabha nala amakheni, amadrinki, bathunga izikhwama. Yikho lapho okunye omama ngabancedisa khona ngabo. Ngancedisa omama futhi eGwanda ukuthi bathole indawo zokusebenzela. Khathesi siyakhile imsika eGwanda omunye umsika ole 261, then izolo bangenile omunye ole 82, then kulomunye oyakhiwayo. Konke lokho yimi engasizama ukuthi sithi omama bangene bayesebenza bethengisela amatamatisi endaweni ezifaneleyo bengagijinyiswa yikhansila. Okunye futhi okwangenza ngangena ukuba ngukhansila yikhona ukuthi ngananzelela ukuthi omama asilasibindi. Mina ngama ngiyi-1 ngangena ngisebenza labo baba kunjalo. And engikutshoyo ukuthi omama beGwanda bakunanzelela ukuthi hayi ukuba ku-leadership ayisikho ukuthi kumele ube ngubani. Even ungumama ongangani, umama onomzimba omncane njengami uyenelisa ukuthi angene ku-leadership. So okunye engakubonayo futhi yikuthi omama yithi abantu esigcina abantwana ezindlini. Yikho ngafeka ukuthi kube lama-vendor mats ukuthi omama bangene bayisebenza kuma-vendor mats lawo ngoba yithi esigcine omama abantwana ezindlini. Obaba bakwanisa ukuhamba benza bakwenza. Kodwa wena nxa umama uyakwanisa ukuthi ungathola i-10 ukwanisa ukuyathengela abantwana inkukhu. Okunye engakunanzelelayo yithi omama engisathi ukuthi khona sibekile omama asisupportayo. That's where ungena nxa ngingena mina ngathi ngingena mina siyacontest kwaba lamabizo amaningi kakhulu. You know kulamabizo lana ukuthi nxa umuntu angakubiza ngalo ugcine uluza i-strength ukuthi lokhu ngcono ngiyekele. But engingakutsho mina ukuthi omama akulani lamabizo. Kulani it's about you ukuthi wena ungumama ufunani lapho oyakhona ufuna ukuyakwenzana. So okunye futhi omama thina nxa omunye amama engumama yithi esimnika amabizo lawayo. Okungamelanga sikwenze futhi khona lokho. Umama nxa umama engama lathi asimncediseleni ami. Mina ngama kathesi ngenelisile lami endaweni yami lapho engihlala khona. Sengimawutile omama engifuna ukuthi baspende babe ngama-candidates. Ngifuna ukuchaya inamba thina amawadi ethu angu-10. Ngifuna ukuchaya inamba zingaba 6 ngiyabe ngikwazi ukusebenza. Ngapha safuna 5 mina yimoye 6 sakhona. Satholile abanye abangu-4 ngisafuna omunye oyi-1. At least kumbe singaba yi-7 ngiyabe sengikwazi ukuthi bina sesikhava ngoba ivoice yami iyi-1 iba nzima nxa ngikhuluma especially ku-chamber kumbe sidebate kunika ama-debate kukhulunywa ngezinto ezibamba omama kakhulu. Ivoice yami isuke ibe nzima ngoba obaba babefuna ukuthi udonsele esayidini la. Eyokucina mina my plans mina iplan yami ngihlezi kathesi ngingukhansila. Iplan yami ukuthi omama kabasukume, omama kabaphakame bame, bithi politics, bithi SAD, SDC or anything. Asikho ukuthi umama kumele abe yi-leader ku-politics kuphela. Kule ndawo eziningi lapho kumele sibe ngama-leaders khona. Kathesi lingananzelela ukuthi thina vele thina esindebeleni sakithi umama vele asiyo muntu lana kumele ame phambi kwabantu. Nxa wawusima phambi kwabantu wawusiba licala elikhulu kakhulu. But kathesi siku-new generation, i-generation lesikuya isavuni kona lokho sancindezelwa kakhulu. Mina iplan yami ukuthi omama kabaphakame bami bathathe ama-positions akhona. Kungaphi mama zivumele lawe ziphakamisele isandla uzitsho wena ukuthi mina nginguNappy Moyo ngifuna ukuba ngu-chair. angithi uzikhulumele wena. Ngibona ngani omama kwabo khona okungasebenzela kuhle. Okunye futhi engunanzelelayo, omama kasingabi le ndaba lokuthi nxa ngifuna ukuba yi-leader. Lapho ngifuna ukuba yi-leader khona, kungabi le ndaba ukuthi abantu bathini emaceleni. Wena yenza okufunwa nguwe, okwazi ukuthi ngingabamba lokhu ngifuna ukwenza lokhu. Mina ngathi ngingena ukuba ngukhansila ngazitshela ngathi ngifuna ukuyamela omama. Noma kusiba nzima umkhono welizwe lakithi unzima, uyakwazi. But ezinye izinto sesikwanisile ukuthi sizenze. Mina ngenxa yokuthi mina ngikhona ngingumama. And omama babesenza izinto eziningi but beyalela. But mina ngiyabuza umbuzo ukuthi nxa ungayalela umama ukuthi ayenze lokhu, ufuna aphile njani? Because mina ukuba ngumama ngiyakuzwisisa ukuthi uba ngumama kuthi into enjani. Engikutshoyo kakhulu vele ukuthi mina my future plans ukuthi omama kabaphakathi sithatheni izindawo. Sithatheni because obaba nxa sebethethe izindawo lezi thina akulanto esiyenza, akulanto abasinceda ngayo and okwabo vele ukuthi babe sikhuza kuphela. Futhi nditshele ku leadership uyakhuzwa ngobaba. Obaba bakukhuza but wena ngaze bakukhuze wena khuluma okumele ukukhuluma. Ungabi le ndaba ukuthi ubaba lana uNdlovu sengikhangeleke lihle njalo. Hayi mina mayikho engingakutsho. Sizwakele mina ngicina khona lapho omama abaphakame, omama phakamanini, siyenze nini okuyikho okumele sikwenze. Ilizwe lethu leselifuna umama osukumayo amekezinyawo. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councillor. I have so many questions. And first of all, uqalisa campaign. Did you have a job? Did you have any other employment, or was this something what I'm starting it full time? But most of the times people will say, I don't have time, or as you mentioned, I am not working, therefore I've got no finances. What was the situation here?
Mina ngani ngasebenzi. Angizihlalele endlini kuphela. Ngimsebenzi wami babuya ku-politics. Angayenzi lutho. Yes.
And you mentioned ukuthi finance was an issue, and this is one of the things that women are telling us over and over again, Utama finances. Maybe if you can walk us through some of the activities. You said you campaigned, but not to campaign, when Zani exactly to maybe give somebody else finances, but they would like to do this. What were some of the day-to-day activities or that you carried out in your community to create awareness for you and get those people voting for you?
Mina into engayenzayo ukuthi ngangisithi lapho okuba khona anything even emhlanganweni wesikole ngangisiba khona, emfeni ngangisiba khona, emhlanganweni wezipotho ngangisiba khona. Omama nxa bechawu bekhatha utshani bebhoda letown ngangisiba khona. Ngangingahlali mina ngekho lapho kumele ngingene khona. Yikho okwangenza abantu baze babangazi kakhulu. Okunye ngasithi nxa ngingafika even emhlanganweni wesikole ngangikhuluma ngingela mntwana ofunda khona lapho. Ngangihamba ngesikole sona leso ngifike ngikhulume ipoint kodwa ngingela mntwana ofunda khona lapho. Engakunanzelelayo mina vele kwangenza ngawina i-election kwaba yi-visibility yami nje just ngingela lutho.
So you just went out into the community, you were involved, so mama was saying just that visibility nje wazakale uthi ukhona. And after you won, did you keep up that visibility? Because the problem is people are very visible on the ground. Then after voting time, we have a different situation. What was your experience? What did you do after that?
Mina okukhona ukuthi angisakhulumi ngewadi yami kuphela wadi 2. Ngizakhuluma ngeGwanda ezewhole. IGwanda ezewhole i-visibility yami lokuba ngikhansila kwami kuncede kakhulu abantu abaningi. Because you can find umama okuward 9 engifonela ele problem. Etshela mina kodwa elokhansila wakhe. You can find umuntu okuward 1 angifonele angitshela asilamanzi. Kodwa mina ngikhona ngisewadini yami. And ngiyakwanisa futhi ukuthi ngibancedise ngendlela enjalo. Yikho kodwa i-visibility yami yanginceda kakhulu because mina asomama lwana ngumama nje ofinyelele kalula. Ngumama nje okhululeke kakhulu. So lamantombazana amankazanyana asakhulayo bayangithanda bambiza gogo. Vele esikhathini esiningi ngiyathola ngilapho. Khona kuyana vele ukuthi mina ngiyakwanisa ukuphuma endlini yami ngingukhansila. Ngihambe ngehlala esitaladeni ngizihlalele kuphela so. Ngihlale even labo change money lama vendors ngizihlalele ngixoxela. Yikho okunye okungenza nje. Mina vele ngihlala sebantwini esikhathini esiningi.
There was another aspect that you mentioned, Uguti endlini, there was an issue. Uguti, your partner was not happy with you going into politics.
Yes.
How did you manage that situation? And then I'm doing this. How did you manage relationships, and what advice would you give anybody else? I have issues with my partner, they're not cooperative, they don't want me going out into this male-dominated industry. When our couple, and how can you advise somebody else?
I think yena ayesekucabanga ngimtshela ukuthi ngifuna ukucontesta ngizangoba iproblem, but sengihambile nomination court sesiqalisa ama campaigns waseyaqala indaba yeka lapha le campaign kanjani ndaba qala le campaign wadingana liqale liyebhoda liye and then khona lapho ku community omama ababevele omama anti ngikhuluma ngabo mama ababevele bengafuni ukuthi ngicontest babhoda bamtshela bathi umfazi wakho phela ukucontesta umbone ebhoda campaign esengasosenza so ukhona. But mina ngokwami angizange ngibe le ndaba lapho kangako, mina engangifuna ngangikwazi even today engifunayo ngiyawazi ngayimanage mi situation ekhaya ngamtshela wayizwisisa ngamtshela ukuthi zwana this is politics. I-politics bazokhuluma noma yini abayifunayo ngani, but wena okumele ukwenze kumele ukhangele mina ukuthi umsebenzi engitheni ngifuna ukuyenza yiwo yini.
I think your partner, did you start a support group for other men in politics? Because you're saying it's a cultural thing, it's so many things, but also we need partners to actually step up and say, this is how I manage my situation at home. Because I'm say, this and that, but I actually think we need the male partners who are not taking an active role to say, okay, this is our relationships. So even like, like the little support group in jail for other men who are in the same situation. Would he be open to that, you think?
I don't think so.
But it's something we can consider. Councilor Moyo, thank you so much for your submission right now. And in the interest of time, I'm going to cross over to you, Nonhlanhla. And you did mention earlier, you're a National Standing Committee member in the CCC, I'm full of and you are the Deputy Secretary for Rural Mobilization Strategy and Penetration. That is a very big title.
Yes.
Which one rural mobilization strategy?
We realized as a party, and we had these accusations that we are based more of in the urban areas. We are based again on social media. We needed to go to the rural areas. We needed to go to the people. So this portfolio was created ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi siyemobilize abantu emakhaya basazi ukuthi singobani, because they don't have social media. Mostly emakhaya network yahlupha, ama-data yahlupha ukuthi abantu bangene ku-Twitter. Abayi-understand ukuthi Twitter into enjani. So iphathi yethu in the urban areas sikhona, i-presence yethu iyazwakala, but i-presence yethu ayingazwakali emakhaya. So we needed that particular portfolio ukuthi siyesebenzisana nabantu bemakhaya, siyebamobilize emakhaya, siye-strategize ukuthi emakhaya singene njani, and penetrate mostly areas that are dominated by ZANU-PF.
Okay. So as Deputy Secretary, what are some of the activities you needed to get awareness, move away from town, hit the ground running, lingeni emakhaya? So what are some of the activities eliwenzayo khona emakhaya?
Into sasiqale ngayo kakhulu ukuthi siqale approach ama-traditional chiefs, because ama-chiefs lawa bengas-understand. Ama-chiefs abefuna ukusazi ukuthi singobani. We needed to reintroduce ourselves to ama-local chiefs abosobhuku besazi ukuthi sikhona. We needed ukuthi amanye ama-stakeholders who are apart from our structures, o-headmaster, abamadiba, ama-business person, we needed again to reintroduce our party and reintroduce ourselves to them ukwenzela ukuthi sipenetrate. On a personal level, I've worked especially with Mapisa Hospital. Every year, sile Christmas cheer fund that we do at Mapisa Hospital. Siyahamba esibhedlela, itshone khona ilanga lonke, sipheka le hospital staff ukudla lokuphiwa ama-patients. And omama sichiye khona into ezinjengama-sanitary pads and stuff like that. It has grown lento sasiyenza Christmas cheer fund, because the other year I got sengithola ama-phone call avela kubantu abavela diaspora, but we've heard ngalento yenzayo. engasiyi politics but part of ukumobilize abantu, part of ukuthi abantu bakwazi ukuthi sikhona, part of the impact that we have ku community. Sicela lathi ukuthi sifike sincedise. So yakhula yangabi iMaphisa Hospital kuphela, yakhula yaya laseChelanyemba Hospital. I have people abanye who are wheelchair bound, who I have helped ngama wheelchair on a personal level. So mina vele ngingumuntu ohlala ekhaya, ngingumuntu olomuzi ekhaya, ngingumuntu obased ekhaya. So I stay with my people. I understand izidingo ze community yami. So yikho ukuthi even leadership yami ikubona kufanele ukuthi asifake umuntu lo abe ku mobilize abantu bekhaya because uhlala labantu labo, uyabazi uyabazwisisa, part and parcel of that community.
Okay. So you've just mentioned it to umuntu ekhaya, and that's how you came into strategy. But tell us about your journey. I am getting involved in politics. This is what I'm going to do. What has been your journey like, and some of your challenges as well that are unique to you being a woman?
Mina ngifuna ukuthi okwami kwakulula. Kwathiwa ngi-political presence mangiqala because ngangakasebenza ama-comrade engangazi. Mina, my mother was a senator in parliament, the late Senator Mlotshwa. So i-grooming yami yonke yayiveli political. Avele ngakhula manje mase ngena ke ku-politics. Kwasokuqala amabizi ukuthi hayi asoze asebenze. You know, I was feeling very big shoes because Senator Mlotshwa was a very big person. Senator Mlotshwa esaziwa ngabantu esebenza labantu. So kwakulele nto ukuthi uza kukwanisa yini ukungena ezinyathelweni zika Senator Mlotshwa. One man said to me on a particular day, uSenator Mlotshwa wayeyindoda. I think ukuba yindoda kwakhe meant wayesebenza kakhulu. Ungathi lathi nje nxa singamadoda sihlezi simbona uSenator Mlotshwa eyindoda. So I had to prove myself. I had to prove myself to my comrades who did not believe ukuthi lo princess lo we-politics uzayikwanisa yini into le okokuqala. I mean, I was staying in South Africa for 13 years. Ngingekho Zimbabwe, but when my mother passed on, into lana yangithuma ukuthi legacy kaMama Mlotshwa izathini. I needed to come and fulfill izinto uMama Mlotshwa ayefisa ukuzenza as a person. So I decided on my own. My children had to leave private schools in South Africa. I had to leave my businesses in South Africa. I had to leave my life, my lifestyle, everything that I was used to. I-comfort zonke ngangizijwayele. Ngathi umuzi kaMama uzaba ngowami because my mother didn't have omunye umntwana ngaphandle kwami engalamfana. Ngathi umuzi kaMama usungowami, sengizohlala ekhaya. And everything to me was new. Even the politics was new. But when I got in, I worked so hard. Ngazibona sengu-provincial executive. From the provincial executive, I moved to the national executive. I did not expect ukuthi ku-national executive, the president will realize umsebenzi wami engiwenzayo emakhaya because I was always with the people. Impicture yami yonke, all the media that goes to our party, babona lo muntu uhlala sebantwini. So I think the president decided, no, asipeni portfolio because kule passion labantu.
Wow. So, yeah, you left everything.
Yes.
For a calling. So
Yes.
Politics is a calling.
Yes.
So I would know by now if I was meant to be politics.
Yeah.
Surely by now, 40 plus, I would know this is my thing or not.
Yes.
Sure. There's been an issue in the role of women. Because Mama Ibesipona begida and Kululu, and it feels like in any political space, even Sohobo Parliament and all that, the women are seen doing those things in Djibouti. I'm so sorry, but they are there. So how has that affected the perception of Mama when you're mobilizing them? Wozani politics? It's like, what is the women's role? Now it wozani come to us, and what so please.
So politics, because women are just put in the periphery, ababiswa a center of everything. Oh mama, bathathwa ku politics mzukwana so gidwa uyanini sesicampaigner. That's when i-necessity yabo mama ebonakala iba khona. But kuma leadership roles ukuthi hayi lo ngumuntu wesimama wesintwana akakwazi ukuthi ayiphathe i-leadership role, which I think mina as a woman it's unfair. You understand? So we go out there. Sibatshela mama ukuthi ungibona ngilapha mama. Ngalwa. Angibanga lapha easy kanjalo that I just got in and just sat and I expected things to happen. If I tell you Sizwakele that I drove from Bulawayo to Harare to attend the National Executive and our National Council. Ngihamba ngiyi-1 ngingumama ngishiya abantu abahamba. Uyakuzwisisa. Then coming back ngibuya kule by-election. I had to come and confirm ama-councillors lawo ukuthi bantu benkosi nahamba barekholiwe. Do you still want these councillors? Because as Citizens Coalition for Change, Tina sithi sifuna ama-citizens at the center of everything. Abo mama babe at the center of everything. Besizobabuza abantu la. So yimsebenzi yabo mama. So bayakubona kimi ukuthi angihlalanga phansi. I'm proving myself 3 times. I work myself 3 times more than obaba to prove ukuthi omama kuyanini. Lingasetshenziswa kuphela. If there is anything that you have to participate in, especially with civic duty, asithalele nini sibonakala emphakathini. Asibeni active kuntweni zethu kathesa abantwana bethu abaye esikoleni. Azwakala mama ama voice wabo ukuthi why our children not in school? Yithi sihlala abantwana la bezindlini. So i-voices zethu sifuna zizwakala ukudlula ngelanga lokucampaign. Sesikhathele ukuthi obaba basisebenzise ukugqoka iregalia, ukuhlabela, ukumemeza more than everybody else. We want the leadership roles because omama yithi sichisela kakhulu into nxa zirong. Nxa abantwana bengalasitshebo yimi ngikwaziyo. Nxa abantwana bengala uniform umama okwaziyo. Obaba babe bengakwazi. So we need a lot of women and we are trying to convince them, of which omama abaningi abayaliswa ukuthi akulabo mama esikhundleni bayaliswa ipatriarchy. Obaba bavuma. Obaba bayala especially emakhaya lapha. Uselifuna hamba lisayijompo khona lentweni zepolitics abavuma obaba. So it's quite a sad situation. But we want to ukuthi sibe izibonelo ezihle kubo mama babona ukuthi ukungena ku politics akulani lokuthi lose, because kulezinto lezo kwamagama lawo wazwayo ukuthi hayi ungenile because ulose ngoba umkakhe maybe ngalasandla esiqinileyo akwazi ukumbamba umamalo nxa uzayekela umkakhe ebomvu kangaka esiyaphenduka eHarare uyayibona into zakhona. So it's like that. It's like that. That's our experiences.
So for me, this is a personal issue, nje. Uthi vele, why is there need for uto mamba bakite? We've seen politics overseas and other places. Sikitelani vele. Why? Because I don't want to feel like ngingene patching bese kuthiwa ngide. Ngithi no, then there'll be an issue. Senzelani vele is in the greater scheme of things. Can we just do away with some things? Because politics is politics and it's making it so much harder for us. Politics, but you can't phone. So how do we maneuver that? I know it sounds so silly, but these are some of the things. So I was on TV, so say, why that's don't even get involved with the party, don't even mention outright because you feel like, hey, it was okay.
No, I'm going to Winjal. We are going Lami, I was like you before I went into politics. Now is because I want to go now. But we was going to comrade. Now my shabelelanga so a comrade. Ngokuma zuzumu wayithi mayefika athi mshini wami ama comrade avuseleleke entweni yabo bajabule. It's like that. So I think okunye kuyi culture yethu njengabantu abamnyama. Mina my district isesikhalangeni. So mostly akulanto thunywa ukuthi gidi. Uyazi ngafika ngitshaya ingoma eyi1 omama bahle bakhipha impembe zabo lezana zesikhalana. Ukukholiseke kube mnandi because into evuselela ama comrades ezinye ingoma ziyakuvuselela ukuthi sithi asambeni siye kulwa. Silwise labantu abasincindezelayo. Uyayizwisisa into yakhona. So it's not ukuthi uduniswa kuphela. Ingoma zana zile meaning, zile sizathu, yikho sizihlabela, zihlezi kithi akwenzi ukuthi singama comrade umhlangano phele singahlabelanga. Akuyenzi. Ngathi i-call lena that clarion call ukuthi asisebenzeni, asiyeni. Uyayizwisisa. So I think that's the whole point.
No, I get it now. I suppose finally we to say church.
Yes.
And then there's the raising of hands and all that.
Uyabona mina nginje vela ngidi kuyangihlula ngiyabe ngixakeza but into ehlekisayo ukuthi ngiyahlabela when I sing abantu bavuseleleke when I sing abantu bathi okay umhlangano usuqalisile umhlangano uqalisa uma Mlotshwa kahlabeni akuyenzi abantu kumele babazize ukuthi bakhona ba part of this whole scheme of things abanye vele babelanda ukuhlabela kulo
Okay, I suppose as you mentioned when you're on the outside looking in, it's like unlikeness.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very different story than you've just explained it very well. It's the vibe.
It's the vibe, yes.
Comrades coming together and singing. So in carrying out umsebenzi wenu and telling Mama, especially Makai, to get involved in politics, what have been some of the challenges? I know you mentioned that patriarchy is playing a huge role. Are there any other issues in jail, or is patriarchy the biggest problem and it manifests in different ways?
It's not only patriarchy, inequality, illiteracy. Mama, especially Makai, abayitholi opportunity ukuthi baye esikoleni bayefunda bazikhulise. Then bese kusiba le yona leni ukuthi patriarchy vele biya le inequality ukuthi asilingani xa ungumama hlala lapho ungumama angithi yakwazi ukuthi enkundleni yabo baba esigabeni omama bahlale lapho the cultural enkundla omama bahlale lapho so obaba bakubona sokuyinto yini kulula ukuthi bobaba ngelirepresenta they even accept it ngumntanethu samfundisa wahamba emazweni wayegoli ku-right but nxa sensithi hayi mama unakazi bani sukuma kube nguwo othatha isikhundla lesithizeni ubaba kusamphathi kahle ukuthi ufuna ukukhipha umama ekhaya umama ekele ukulima ekele ukatheza inkuni ekele ukukha amanzi ekele ukukhangela abazukulu ekhaya ngoba nanka amankazana achiya abantu ababesiye egoli umama lo ekele ukukhangela abantu abazukulu ngenxa yokuthi selimbiza ku-politics. So those are some of the challenges because omama ibabaphethe amakhaya omama abaningi bonke emakhaya lapha babaphethe amakhaya ekulimeni umama yibo ku-domestic omama yibo ungathiwa kule meeting ku-SDC omama yibo ungathiwa kunesihlobo esigulayo esibhedlela if you have realized ohamba esibhedlela mbani ngumama ungathiwa kunesihlobo esejele oya lapho mbani ngumama so umsebenzi kamama mningi and obaba babe sebefila ukuthi uyagcina umama lo engasayenzi imisebenzi yakhe ekhaya engajoyina into le kakhulu especially beku-position of leadership.
Just to round off this conversation, because I can go on for quite a while, I will ask you, Uche, being a woman in politics, how have you handled being in a relationship? Because those are the three facets, like I mentioned earlier, finances are an issue and just getting out there. And also, there's a lady who had said, she had to choose politics or choose marriage. And this is something that we hear more and more. I have to choose one or choose the other. What has been your experience here?
I sat down with my husband. I sat him down when we were still in South Africa. Ngathi umama uthe ehamba ubesebenzile ubeyakhile not only umuzi ubeyakha ama-business. I will not micromanage all these things from a remote place in a phone. I need to go home. And sengile calling into le politics ayingiqalanga ngoba umama engasekho. I was always involved with politics zakhe. Angivele ngikwazi and ngimnika lama pointers. I think my conversations with my mom most of the times with 99% sikhuluma ngepolitics. Laphana mama yenza so, laphana yenza so, and I would mobilize resources from South Africa. Mama nxa kulabantwana abashota ngama-uniform abashota ngama-school shoes abashota ngani, I would always mobilize. So I think like wakuzwisisa waku-understand ukuthi it's time. I know ukuthi khathesi ulama challenges because when I go to a certain place, I'm traveling to Harare, uyafuna ukubona sengine video call lokho ngasafuna ukuthi no, but I'm with my colleagues. Hayi ngifuna ukubona nge-video call, but what would I do? Uyakuzwisisa. So kuye, I think as a man, khathesi sokumchaya ukuthi it's real now. Ngaleso sikhathi when we were introducing this topic, he thought, maybe she's not taking it as seriously as I think. But now I have risen through the ranks of this politics. I don't even have time for him as my husband. I don't even have time for my children. I have dedicated my life and myself to Zimbabweans. I've dedicated my life and myself to umphakathi wami ukuthi ngithumani lapho elifuna ukungithuma khona, I'm ready. So yena akakuzwisisi khona lokho kuyamtshaya ezemende ego yakhe iyatshaya ukuthi nguwe lo ngubona usumelo thena ibithi uyabona amadoda la angamadoda ahloniphekayo emphakathini nguwe lwana ngubone kodwa ubona mbone sekuthinta isandla so uyabona ukuthi uyabese amanye ama-photos ugcina umuntu ungasabona ukuthi bayithi ngishuthi isithombe lobani kuyabe sokumzwisa ubuhlungu ukuthi hey bakithi but bakithi umuntu wenkosi angixolele because this is a calling that I cannot ignore. Ukuthi ngirepresent abantu bakithi. Abantu bakithi need to be represented ngabantu passionate as I am passionate ngabantu bakithi.
So it's, well, I think you are saying you probably have to have extra reassurance and things like that, but from my experience, that's just standard operating procedure, whether in politics or not, really. Somewhere, somehow. In relationships, you have to manage certain things, especially the people on marketing and sales who are traveling. It's not unique to politics, as it were, but anytime a woman is out and about, really, you'll have to balance in your relationship. And
politics is really I schedule. Sikhuluma nje kathesi silama by-elections and I've been deployed in Sizwakele North, which is a ZANU-PF area. I cannot go to Sizwakele one day, you understand, but if you're in marketing, you're scheduled. You're going to Harare on these 1-2 days, or you're going to Masungo on these 1-2 days and you're back. So if I say I'm going to Sizwakele to campaign, I will not go for 1 day. Or maybe Zambi Vigo, Maviga Mabili, Lala Kona Ngali in Sizwakele. Nichiye ubaba endlini, nichiye abantwana endlini. And he cannot say to me, but when are you coming? Angila mpendulo yakho. I don't know when I'm coming. So OA270 is just extraordinary. Ngisuke ngisiza because I'm not the deputy secretary weMathebelele region. I'm the deputy secretary national. So I can be called to Uzuma Marambafungo to come and help with the election. And with the mobilization, yabo mama, because my boss, Comrade Vondo, umuntu uba. So maybe ungafune ukuthi kufuneka ithathe umuntu ongumama into lesikhuluma izwisiseke. Sengise uZuma, sengise Gwera, akula schedule.
All I can say is that I'm so glad I do not have the calling. We will just handle things behind the scenes like this. I will leave you to it. I would like to, at this point, invite our audience members for any questions that they might have. And yes.
Okay, so Mama was talking about how this thing, politics, and she has to leave her husband behind. So in the end, doesn't she feel like she should give her family some form of security? Or what in the end isn't our careers, putting our careers as women and sometimes over our spouses might lead to the end of the marriage. Doesn't that affect you as a mother or as a wife? Or in the end, you might lose your family while pursuing that career.
I don't think I'll lose my husband anytime soon. I'm only worried ngabantwana bami. But I'm not only worried ngabantwana bami. Abantwana bakho ngabantwana bami. Izinto that as politics as affect abantwana bakho. Ziyabe sezing-affectile. Somebody needs to stand up. So I decided my children have been sacrificed, but bayakwazi where I stand, I clearly explained to them. Abantwana bakho kunje nxa bengahambi esikolo. And abanye abantwana who are in private schooling can afford. Not every one of us can afford. I cannot say to you now because I can afford, you're right. No, akuvumi. When you cannot afford, umntanakho usengumntanami, and I have to protect umntanakho somehow. And I have to stand up for a child and say, ideally, zamele umntwana lo iplan. Ahambe esikole nayifunda njengabanye.
Maybe just as a follow-up to her, would you say it is easier for women who are starting out to just be single, to make an active choice? If you are not in a partnership already, if you are single, to actively say, maybe let me choose politics, relationships, even I think Paul believe that it is better to be single and pursue Christianity and that religion. Would it be easier? Do you think it would be?
I think so. I think so. I think it would be easier because ma ungekho principled wena wedwa uza kusweya omunye wakho lo naye ukuthi lokuchiya. But khathesi my husband supports me. I think ngile cheerleader in my husband more than anybody else. Yena nguye ongisupporta kakhulu. Even my children bangisupporta kakhulu bayakuzwisisa ukuthi abakho empowered as they are supposed to be. Abakho because they've been exposed to better. Sebake bafunde South Africa babona izinto ezingcono and nabo bezizwa bengama-activists ukuthi but mama esikoleni bathi ingqondo zabo azisekho lapho. So kibo bathi fight on, go on, don't stop. But komunye umuntu ongayisimi I would say kungcono ukuba single because you know why? You are deployed, udeploya ngama-comrades. Uzafona umkakho ese-complain ukuthi but why limusa le? Mina I keep my husband private. I keep even my children very private. Akula muntu okwaziyo ukuthi vele umyeni wami mbani. Ukuthi baze bamfonele ola abafonele athi ukuthi kathi selimdeploye lapha. Sikhuluma singu-2 komuzi wethu sikuphatha sonke singu-2. Ngimtshele this is the situation. Sesiku-election season. Yabona 22 lo awusozumbona. Azayephela. Size siyefika ku-general election awusozumbona. Uzangixolela muntu wenkosi. And he has understood and he has become the biggest child, my biggest child.
So what's your take on that, Councillor? Which for people starting out, are you of the same opinion? Which I just stay single?
No, mina angeke ngitsho njalo. Engingakutsho yes. Mama Mlotshwa uqine ku-right. But mina engingakutsho ukuthi you guys lawazi ukuthi ukuba ku-relationship sometimes kuyakufaka amatomu. Yabo? So nxa ungela ungekho ku-relationship kuyakwenza ube wild. I think especially njengathi sisabe sihamba so uyabona into eziningi. But nxa uchiye nxa ngimchile uNdlovu endlini sengacala ukuthi but uNdlovu hayi mana lokhu mana yini yabo. But isikhathi bekufuna umuntu imind yakhe ibe imind yakho nje ibe right nje uyibumbe wena muntu. Ngoba sibili mina I'm not saying ukuthi obaba babe sometimes babe right. Uyabe secabanga ukuthi okay mama wesegadile kathi sehambile eHarare khona ngalo kulabo bani wababona ubani nje kodwa kuthiwa mama Mlotshwa wabona ubidi efortune kamazi bathe bathi baba lo yabona uyabe secabanga izinto eziningi. But mina engakutsho kumina ukuthi umama kumele azazi ukuthi yena umama ufuna ukwenza entweni yakhe ayibalulekile.
My question goes to say, are women really capable of leading our positions now? Or we are just doing the gender balance and we're just filling up the quota systems and stuff? Do we really think or do we really feel which as women we are so capable to take up these positions? Or when you say we would because I'm a woman, the system will pity me because they want to do the gender balance. Are we really fit to hold up these positions as women?
Most women, and what's being said around that in politics, most women have to do sexual favors for them to climb up the political ladder. So when you encounter things like that, when a male counterpart approaches you and says to you, okay, if you sleep with me, you will get to this stage. How do you address that and how do you avoid issues like that?
I have heard stories that say the political sector is very dangerous. You're going to be prone to like any harm that may come. So I want to know how is it like, especially a woman, as women we're actually prone to many dangers out there. So being in the political sector as well, how is it? Are the dangers being said out there that you actually read in newspapers, online, all that? Are they there? Have you felt them? Actually, are they real?
Then our last question is that
in as much as we are saying we are women and we need to take up on the spaces, Feeling yakhona, I'm interested on feeling. How do you feel about it? It's now you're in positions. How is the feeling like? We need to know this feeling. There's people who are maybe aspiring to be candidates, not aspiring to be MPs of their lives. We need to know how does it feel when you are the MP in power.
Sister Pangaze ukuthi sivele ngazibona ukuthi usibili siyibo kanye omama kumele bathathe lama positions. I think mina okumele kube khona omama, wena mama nxa ufuna i-position kumele ube kwazi ukuthi ufuna ukuyenzani ngayo, ufunani kiyo, ufuna kube njani nini. Umbuzo wakhe muhle kakhulu but bakhozi kukhona ngkhona ke ukuthi maybe sesingakho ukuthi sifile ngoba kathi ngithe mina ngilabo mama abangu4 esesingilapha abafuna ukucontesta emawadi. Khona khana akubuzayo sibili lami umbuzo nolawo ukhona but mina engutshela omama ukuthi nxa ufuna i-position thatha i-position yakho usiyayisebenzisa, ayikhona ukuyayithatha kuphela uyehlala la uthathe kuphela uhambe la uye lapho yakho ubuvakathe ngawe nxa ukuthi usungikansila. No, ama-positions esiwathathayo nxa singomama kumele sithathe ama-position esikwazi ukuthi sifuna ukuyenzani ngawo kuphumelele abanye omama.
Okay, ngifuna ukuphendula umbuzo we-quota system. Mina kube usiya ngami kube vela yiphi i-quota system. We contest labo baba fairly because I believe ukuthi thina as women we can do this. And into ye-quota system engathi senzela ama-favor while we are the majority. So I want to appeal kwabanye mama out there. We don't want to be feeling this quota system. Vote for us. Vote for abanye mama. Elevate abanye mama baye kwizikhundla eziphezulu. Singabe siphiwe ama-quota system ngabantu abalutshwane kulathi. Thina sisithi sibaningi we are the majority. Why are we being given quota systems? Why are we being given proportional representation? So what I want to say to abantu abangomama, empower yourselves in business. Empower yourselves kulento yenzayo kumbusemsebenzini so that you have enough resources and enough funds. You don't need the quota system. Okwenza sibe le quota system is because we cannot afford to hold a campaign singomama. Kusehlula nisibaningi kangaka.
And then the second question was sexual favors. How do you address those? How do you combat those?
Yes, ikhona sibili but into leyana bakithi umuntu uyenza efuna awafuni uyathi no kungangcono uluziso lesikhundla sakhona leso okumele singena ufuna uba ngitown clerk, ufuna ukuba ngu-CEO somewhere we-company kulo bosi omunye ofuna ukuthi umenzele ifavor ngokuthi hayi mina I can say komama ukuthi better uluze isikhundla leso usishiye uhambe uyedinga somewhere.
I want to say to you, sister, the political corridors are very dead. And the woman political corridors, people talk. Uzalala labangai before you are known to lose. As I was saying to sis, I wish we had a quota system here because this quota system was introduced by men and run by men. We don't run the quota system. PR. You find in a certain constituency. Ukuthi uzungene ku-PR ukuthi ube aligned to umuntu oyindoda who's powerful enough to allow you ukuthi uye ku-PR. So we need to empower omama. We need ukuthi sikhule business wise. Let's make money, let's go out there. I mean, women are hustling every day in Zimbabwe. We hustle as men hustle. So let's hustle even in politics. Let's not allow ourselves to be put in difficult positions. Okay, you want to be PR, you want to be number 1 in the province, you know, now you have to sleep with me because women mama laba ku PR. So isigaba sonke sesikwazi ukuthi wena wangena ngoba ulala lobaba lwana. That's why inhlamba zonke zibe ngakhona. But thina singazikhulisa, sizikhulise into lesizenzayo, our hustle, our everything, i-finances zethu ziqonde kuzikhuliseni. It will be much easier.
And also the issue of sexual favors is not unique to politics everywhere. So if somebody chooses to be a certain way, it's not because of the sector, it's not because they've chosen to, they said yes to that, and it's a personal choice. morals and all that behind it, I saved for another day. So the next question was, how dangerous is politics? And have you been a target? Because you read stories, are your families in danger, you'll be a target, and all sorts of things, whether in opposition or otherwise. How dangerous has it been? Have you feared for your life? Have you feared for your family at any point in time, Councillor?
Yes. Politics vele yona ngoba isedethi game yangikhona vele ilezinto eziningi kakhulu phakathi. Abantwana bethu lami nginje ukudanger, ubaba la enjana ukudanger, but i-danger yethu ukuze sizame ukuyi-avoid or ukuyi-manage or ukuthi thina sizithole siku-safe side. Ukuthi i-politics ilezinto eziningi. I-politics kwesinye isikhathi uyathula ukukhuluma kakhulu, uyenze ngoba i-target yakho iyabe sekukhulumeni khona phakathi ukuthi wena uyakhuluma kakhulu. Okunye i-politics, i-security ye-family yami ikini. Yimi okumele ngibone ukuthi abantu abami ba-safe. Umngane u-safe, indlu yethu i-safe. Just because yimi engureyisi yona leyo. Yimi engikhonapho phakathi. I-politics ile danger kakhulu. But okukhona ukuthi singena ku-politics, ngeke ibe yi-danger every time. Ilesikhathi sakhona sokuthi i-danger yakhona ifika icine ngapho. Ngoba nxa sesiya kuma-election, mina nje ngingu-councillor, ngizangena lo wezami, uzangitarget ukuthi azangicisha umoya, ukwenzela ukuthi yena aphumelele. So kumele ngibone ukuthi i-politics yona vele ifuna umuntu ocabangayo kakhulu. Uwedwa ucabange, unanzelele, ukhangele, ulalele. I-politics injalo. So I think i-danger ikhona, but ifuna wena okureyisi. Uzama ukuyi-manage i-danger yakhona, uyikhangele ukuthi lapha sokumele kube nje, lapha sokumele kube nje. Ngalokho sokwenzakale lokho, sokumele ngivikele ingane zami ngalokho. Ziningi izinto ezenzakalayo. Ungazivikela ngokuthi lapho yakhona umbe campaigner, umbuya kwenye indawo ye-district, uhambe nje just ungatshelanga abantu ukuthi uyaphi, because phambili ngalo ngaba ne-danger. Ziningi indlela zokuzivikela emuntwini okwazi ukuthi indaba le mphakathi wayihamba.
My point is there's a clear lack of policy to protect our mama. Politics is very dangerous. That is, upcoming elections, one of our candidates, Mzimwana, was attacked 2 days ago by a mob. So we are playing a very dangerous game that we've given ourselves to. But it dangerous, we're going like that. Because into esifunayo ukuthi sikhululeke size sifike to a state where our politics is not as dangerous as it is. It's a dangerous game. It's not what we see in my newspapers. I saw story, it's true. Sikhuluma kunje sisiya kuma elections ogogo bangenelwa bayethuselwa bayachaywa. It's those women are in politics not very wazi ukuthi this is the party that you support. Not even kuphela as a member. Ungathola ukuthi mina I'm protected kakhulu ukudlula umuntu ohleze ekhaya oyimember kuphela ongana certain position, because national I have declared myself I'm ready. So kungcono usazi, this is where I stand. I'm not hiding myself. This is my position and this is the freedom that I'm looking for, and I'm ready to attack as much as you're attacking me. But umuntu ohleze emakhaya in our structures yiba abantu abakudanger ezinkulu kakhulu udlula thina. It's difficult now to attack a position of leadership because it will be known to attack ngabantu of a certain party. But to attack umameka but uchayo maybe gogolo uyaloya umyenza into ethile kanti uchayo politics. So it's dangerous very akula ngenye indlela, but we're dealing with it. If we refuse to deal with our politics and say it's dangerous, then who will fight for our children? Because it's lelabo akula.
And our last question, if I understand it correctly, was how do you feel now that you're in power? Was that you have voted in council and now you've arrived at that level for that time? What were your emotions? Are you happy? Do you have any regrets? And Uzwanja?
Thank you, Sizwakele. Angila any problem. I'm okay. Vela anisi soli. because izinto engangizifuna ngingena kuyakuba ngukhansila ezinye zangikhona sengikwanisa ukuthi ngizenze, so ngizizwa ngi-right.
Ku-position le ngikuyo sisi, angabi le feeling of satisfaction. I feel I have a race that I'm running and there's victories for me to win. I think ask me after 2023 when CCC is in power, then you ask me then how I feel. Then I'll tell you how I feel. Kathesi angabi le feeling. Kathesi ngili-comrade ngisemsebenzini. Unless and until CCC I tell you what you are looking for. Because the ultimate ukuthi sibe ku-politics, the ultimate ukuthi siwina ama-elections. We need to attain state power. Sesifikile saba lama-parliamentarians, saba lama-councillors saqeda, sesifuna state power. So once we attain state power, you come and ask me again, I'll tell you my feeling.
Okay, Nonhlanhla, in the interest of time, please give your last remarks for our viewers, for aspiring female candidates, and we wrap it up.
Mina, my last words, ikuthi bomama, change is not going to come from a political party. Change is not going to come because you are in a position of power. Anywhere, lapho always fear of in your sphere, lapho ole influence call. Influence the change, get the ball rolling. Kadesi sikhuluma sinje ibulawayo kuvote here sibalutshwane kakhulu. Ungathi nga abantu bayahamba bancedisane ukubhalisa ukuvota. Because the election we are going to win it when the blitz starts. That's when we win elections. Ngama-registered voters. Not ngokukhuluma lokho esikwenzayo. So let's encourage singomama in our domestics. Abantu esihlala bomakhelwane, abantwana abanye sebefikile iminyaka yokuthi babhalise, asibhalise nini. And then those who want to actively participate in politics, join politics sibambaneni ngezandla. Because we will not win this sibalutshwana. We need, the tent is big. We need abantu abaningi to come and join, especially abomama. We need them to come and join. Sometimes we need even technocrats. Thina abanye were not book smart, but were street smart. Siyakwazi ukungena emakhaya sisebenzele abantu. But we need technocrats, we need people to refer to. Ukuthi please investigate into so. Kanti ama-numbers la aseso, ngiprofilela into so. Sisebenze ngani ngama-numbers. So if we can do that, we need technocrats, we need the behind the scenes. Asijoyineni, sikusebenzeni, sibeni sonkeni, because we need the change. Yabo.
Mina engakutsho ukuthi ladies, ivoice yenu kayizwakale phandle. I think ivoice yenu kayiphume izwakale, likhulume kuzwakale. Ladies, istruggle lesesiphakathi kwethu ngesethu. Obaba bona bahleze endaweni zabo. Kudinga thina omama. Umama wonke kumele atshele omunye umama ukuthi struggle continues. Sindawonye konke lokho siyakwanisa singomama. Thina sodwa omama ilizwe singalibusa. Yikho engubonayo mina. Amazwi ami ogcina ukuthi bomama lisahamba lisaya emakhaya. Abantu abethu abaregister ukuvota. Umakhelwane ka register ukuvota. Ubaba ka register ukuvota. Isihlobo sakho esegwanda sivonele siregister ukuvota. Esisenkhwali sifonele siregister ukuvota. Ukwenzela ukuthi umsebenzi lo ube lula kithi thina omama, ngoba umsebenzi lo sezandleni zethu omama. Nxa kusifa kube kubulewe yithi omama. Engakutsho ukuthi bomama ngiyabonga kuba lani mina njengoCouncilor Moyo engikwenzayo bomama ngangena ku leadership. Okuqhakathekileyo kimi ivoice yami ngimele omama. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you so much, Councilor Moyo, and I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Roundtable series. And with me on the program was Councilor Nappy Moyo, Councilor Ward 2, Gwanda Urban, and under the municipality of Gwanda. And my other guest was Nonhlanhla Mlotshwa, and she's the National Standing Committee member in the CCC, and also the Deputy Secretary for Rural Mobilization Strategy and Penetration. The election election conversation is just starting to heat up now. There are nomination processes in place, and we are going to be aware of them shortly. And then we are going to have our by-elections in March and the general election in 2023. As I always say, dialogue starts now. This is not the end. It's merely the beginning. We're just starting to talk about it. Go out in your numbers. Register to vote. There are so many implications if you don't register to vote. If your child, your neighbor, your niece is 18, your nephew, get outside, get them to vote, and let's be part of the process of being part of the electoral process in Zimbabwe. Let's have our say. Let's have our voice being heard, and let's go out there in our numbers and let's register to vote. Igama lami ngiSizwakele Ndlovu. Thank you so much for watching Asake Online. Follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter @SiteZW for more informative discussions.